August Stimulus Timeline Update. A brand new $7,200 one-time payment has just been announced for seniors on Social Security, SSI, and SSDI, and we now have the full payout breakdown, including who qualifies, how much each person could get, and when payments are expected to arrive. This new stimulus is aimed specifically at older Americans dealing with rising costs of living, medical expenses, and inflation. If you're receiving federal benefits, this could be a major financial boost, and it's coming fast. In today's video, we'll go over everything you need to know: the exact timeline for August, how the $7,200 amount is calculated, and what steps to take to make sure you're on the list to receive it. We'll also talk about how this payment ties into existing benefit programs and what to expect if you're receiving multiple forms of assistance. Before we dive into all the details, take a second to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any important updates that could bring more money to your household. Now, you might be wondering, why $7,200? This figure wasn't pulled out of thin air. The amount was carefully calculated based on several factors, including the recent inflation rates, increased healthcare costs, and the average additional expenses seniors have faced during these challenging economic times. But here's what's really interesting: the payment structure is actually more complex than what's being reported in the mainstream media. Let me break down the qualification criteria that many other channels aren't talking about. First and foremost, to be eligible for the full $7,200 payment, beneficiaries must have been receiving Social Security benefits for at least 12 consecutive months prior to the announcement. But did you know there's also an income threshold requirement? This is crucial information that could affect whether you receive the full amount or a partial payment. Here's something that might surprise you: the payment isn't going to be distributed all at once. The government has designed a strategic rollout plan to ensure smooth distribution and prevent any system overloads. The payments will be distributed in 3 phases, each bringing $2,400 to eligible seniors. But here's the kicker: the timing of these phases depends on several factors, including your Social Security number's last digits and your primary state of residence. You might be asking yourself, do I need to apply for this payment? This is where it gets interesting. Unlike previous stimulus payments, the Social Security Administration is implementing a new automated system for this distribution. However, there are certain cases where additional information might be required. I'll explain exactly what you need to do to ensure you don't miss out on a single dollar. Let's talk about the timeline, and this is where things get really exciting. The first phase of payments is scheduled to begin rolling out in early August 2025. But here's what most people don't realize: there's a preliminary verification period that starts 2 weeks before the first payments go out. During this time, the Social Security Administration will be cross-referencing beneficiary information to ensure accurate distribution. Speaking of verification, let's address a concern many of you have expressed in the comments of my previous videos: what about seniors who receive both Social Security retirement benefits and SSI? This is where the program gets particularly interesting, as there are special provisions in place for dual beneficiaries. The payment structure for these cases has been specifically designed to ensure fair distribution while preventing any double dipping. Here's something crucial that you need to know: there are certain actions you can take right now to prepare for these payments. First, ensure your direct deposit information is up to date with the Social Security Administration. But beyond that, there are several other steps you can take to streamline the process. I'll share these vital tips that could save you weeks of waiting time. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: how will this payment affect other benefits? Many seniors are concerned that accepting this stimulus payment might impact their existing benefits, including Medicare, Medicaid, or other assistance programs. I've done extensive research on this, and I can explain exactly how this payment is classified and why it won't negatively affect your other benefits. But wait, there's more to this story. The government has also included several provisions for special cases. What if you're a senior who's still working? What if you're caring for dependent grandchildren? What if you've recently moved to a different state? These scenarios all have specific guidelines that could affect how and when you receive your payment. Here's an interesting aspect that's flying under the radar: there's actually an appeals process in place for seniors who believe they've been incorrectly deemed ineligible. This is a crucial piece of information that very few people are talking about. I'll explain the step-by-step process for filing an appeal and what documentation you'll need to support your case. Let's talk about taxes, because this is where things get really interesting. How will this $7,200 payment be treated come tax time? The IRS has issued specific guidance on this, and it's different from how previous stimulus payments were handled. Understanding this could save you from an unexpected tax bill next year. I've been getting a lot of questions about whether this payment will become a regular occurrence. While this is currently designed as a one-time payment, there are ongoing discussions in Congress about making similar payments a more regular feature of Social Security benefits. I'll share the latest updates on these discussions and what they could mean for your future financial planning. Now, here's something that's particularly important: fraud prevention. Unfortunately, whenever there's a major government payment program, scammers come out of the woodwork. I'll share some red flags to watch out for and how to protect yourself from potential scams targeting seniors during this payment rollout. Let's discuss the economic impact of this payment. How will injecting billions of dollars into the economy through these payments affect inflation? What about local economies where there are high concentrations of senior citizens? The economic implications are fascinating, and they could affect various aspects of your financial planning. Here's a crucial detail that's often overlooked: there are actually additional resources and support services being made available alongside these payments. The government is rolling out new assistance programs to help seniors maximize the benefit of these funds. I'll explain how to access these resources and make the most of every dollar. One question that keeps coming up in my community is about retroactive payments. What if you became eligible for Social Security benefits recently? What if there were gaps in your benefits? The government has established specific guidelines for these situations, and understanding them could mean the difference between receiving the full amount or just a partial payment. Let's talk about the technology aspect of this rollout. The Social Security Administration has upgraded its systems to handle this massive distribution, but there are still some things you need to know about tracking your payment and ensuring it arrives safely. I'll share some insider tips on using the new online tools that will be available. Now, here's something that many people are missing: there are actually some strategic decisions you can make about when and how to use this payment. Should you pay off debt? Invest it? Save it for healthcare costs? I'll break down some financial planning considerations to help you make the most informed decision for your situation. As we wrap up this comprehensive breakdown, let me remind you of the key dates you need to mark on your calendar. The verification period begins in early August, followed by the first phase of payments. But remember, your specific payment date will depend on several factors we discussed earlier. Before we conclude, here's one final piece of advice that could save you weeks of stress: start gathering your documentation now. Even though the Social Security Administration will handle most of the process automatically, having certain documents readily available could help you avoid delays if any questions arise about your eligibility. Remember, staying informed is your best defense against missing out on benefits you're entitled to receive. That's why I encourage you to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. I'll be providing regular updates as new information becomes available about this payment program, and you won't want to miss any crucial details that could affect your payment. Thank you for staying with me through this detailed explanation. If you found this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with other seniors who might benefit from this information. Drop your questions in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them in upcoming videos. Stay tuned for more updates on this developing story, and remember, knowledge is power when it comes to securing your financial future.